Move on. Leaders help themselves and others to do the right things. They set direction, build an inspiring vision, and create something new. Leadership is about mapping out where you need to go to win as a team or an organization. And it is a dynamic, exciting, and inspiring. Yet, while leaders set the direction, they must also set or use management skills to guide their people to right destination in a smooth and efficient way. So now, to integrate leadership to cybersecurity, let's hear now from a certified public accountant and currently the Enterprise Resource Planning Specialist of Excellent Technologies. Let's now call on Mr. Paul Mendoza.
Paul. Matt Monroe. Matt Monroe boses.
So hi, as Mason told you, thank you for that very nice introduction. I'm Paul Mendoza, and I'm currently working as an ERP specialist in Clark in Excellent Technologies. Basically for about 3 years now. I've actually held other positions in accounting there and finance, but it's really computers that my first stop, so that's why I keep on going back to computers. So that's why I'm here, and I'm enrolled in this program in cybersecurity. So yes, so this afternoon I'll be giving a talk about cybersecurity leadership, which is very, very exciting, as I can see from your faces that you're very excited to listen about this cybersecurity leadership. Okay, so to give a brief overview of what will I be talking, so I'll be talking about the cybersecurity challenges that we're currently facing, as mentioned by all my group members as well. They've reported that as well now. And I'm going to show you a brief movie clip about what security leadership lessons we can learn from the dark side. And how, and we're going also to talk about the communications that is very, very important when it comes to leadership. And of course, with the core of my talk, which is cybersecurity leadership. Okay? Then, so the first part, we'll be talking about cybersecurity challenges. And as mentioned by George earlier, that there are a lot of cybersecurity threats right now, right? Ransomware and things like that. And also, everybody's online now. Not actually everybody, because currently we are estimated about 4 billion people that are currently online. So, and that was like about 2 billion in 2015, and now it's already at about 4 billion. So basically, all of us are connected. So those are the advantages, because we can basically buy stuff online now. They can be delivered the next day. We can talk to someone from Antarctica now, because they're also connected to the internet. And of course, with these advantages, we have disadvantages as well. Being online, everyone knows what we're doing, right? With Facebook, and we post everything there. So that's why we have these cybersecurity challenges. So to talk deeper with the cybersecurity challenges, here are some key figures that we need to know. That cybercrime damage cost to it $6 trillion annually by 2021. That's actually the amount of money I have here. So we have $6 trillion cost annually to hit by 2021. Imagine that. And cybersecurity spending by companies will be about $1 trillion from 2017 to 2021. Peanuts. Late na pera lang yan. Then, cybercrime will more than triple the number of unfilled jobs by 2021. Unfilled jobs right now is 3.5 million. And cybercrime will triple that. See? So, you can actually see the global workforce shortage for cybersecurity personnel. That's why we're very, very thankful that Holy Angel University actually has this program now. Diba? And attack surface is going to reach 6 billion people by 2022. So everyone will basically be online by that time. Even your yaya, na binabayaran mo ng 3,000 to 5,000 a day at nagpe-Facebook lang siya maghapon. Diba? Saya? So everyone will be online now. And global ransomware damage costs are to exceed $5 billion
Minum ko.
in 2017, this year. $5 billion this year for global ransomware. In 2015, medyo mas mababa yan eh. Basically, it's just about $325 million. Just no. 325. But now, look at it now. It's about $5 billion. So can you see what this, what all of this is becoming a big threat to our company. That is why the CEO in 2015, the CEO of IBM actually declared cybersecurity or cybercrime as the greatest threat to every company in the world. Even Warren Buffett actually supported that idea that cybercrime is even worse than nuclear weapons. Because, basically, nuclear weapons, they are still being sanctioned. Mag-build lang ng nuclear weapon yung country, kung ano-ano nang sinasabi ng US. About it, gigirahin na sila, di ba? But with cybercrime, we don't know. We don't know if you're going to be attacked. Like, for example, Stuxnet. If everyone here have heard about Stuxnet. This was actually an attack on Iran. Di ba? Iran has a nuclear program, so they're saying that it is state-sponsored by US and Israel. They actually attack Iran so that it will stop its nuclear program. So, basically that. That's why it's the greatest threat. Yeah. So what do we need to do? That is why it's really an important part that with every organization in the world, they should cultivate cybersecurity leaders. Okay, so here, I will show you a quick 3-minute, no actually, natong na ba kayo sa mga 5 hours na lang na movie clip? Manood na lang tayo, no? So what we can learn from the dark side. Okay, so it's just quick. Just a brief intro with this one. There was actually a data breach with this organization. And they are having a meeting talking about this data breach and what will they do and things like that. So here's the meeting that's happening.
Until this battle station is fully operational, we are vulnerable. The Rebel Alliance is too well equipped. They're more dangerous than you realize.
Dangerous to your Starfleet, Commander, not to this battle station.
The rebellion will continue to gain a support in the Imperial Senate.
The Imperial Senate will no longer be of any concern to us. I have just received word that the Emperor has dissolved the Council permanently. The last remnants of the old Republic have been swept away.
It's impossible. How will the Emperor maintain control without the bureaucracy?
The regional governors now have direct control over their territories. Fear will keep the local systems in line. Fear of this battle station.
And what of the rebellion? If the rebels have obtained a complete technical readout of the station, it is possible, however unlikely, that they might find a weakness and exploit it.
The plans you refer to will soon be back in our hands.
Any attack made by the rebels against this station would be a useless gesture, no matter what technical data they've obtained.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed. The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force.
Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways, Lord Vader. Your sad devotion to that ancient religion has not helped you conjure up the stolen data tapes, or given you clairvoyance enough to find the rebels' hidden...
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Enough of this. Vader, release it.
As you wish.
This bickering is pointless. Now, Lord Vader will provide us with the location of the rebel fortress by the time this station is operational. We will then crush the rebellion with one swift stroke.
It's a movie called, ano ba yun? Galaxy Avengers and, no, it's actually the movie Star Wars from 1977. I find your, okay. So what did we learn from that? What do we see? What's the problem with that? Yes, sir.
When someone finds something, something important, they might exploit it, use it, and create something trouble from us or for them.
Yes. So basically, there was a data breach. Do you know the Death Star? Yes. So basically, the plans of the Death Star were stolen by the very bad Rebel Alliance. So they're actually the good guys. So the Rebel Alliance has these plans. So the Empire is actually scared that their Death Star now, their ultimate weapon, is vulnerable because the Rebel Alliance can basically study these plans and then maybe find a way on how to exploit this Death Star. But on a leadership and communication standpoint, what do you think are the problems with that board meeting? Have you experienced the same meeting before where your boss actually strangled you? Huh? Kahit sa tingin lang, no? Parang inuubaran ka na. Mali pala yun. Okay. So here, we can see on that basic movie clip that we can see that there are actually communication problems. As you can see, there are differences between the officers and Darth Vader. There are differences between their boss and their the Grand Moff Tarkin and the other officials. And also, their very main boss, which is the Dark Lord, right, was not there. They have a big problem and their big boss was not even there. So, what are the key problems that we can see from those? Basically, culture and language. As you can see, Darth Vader was actually a former Jedi, so basically, he is more likely the IT personnel, basically, that is actually on the ground doing things, right? And the officials wearing uniforms, basically, those are the board members that they want to talk about efficiencies, marketing strategies, operations, sales, things like that. And the IT personnel actually wants to talk about vulnerabilities, right? They want to talk about things like that. And of course, there are differences in experiences. Darth Vader was accustomed to doing actions, and maybe those officers are actually more bureaucratic and bureaucracy and things like that in politics. And also knowledge and expertise. And the background. The officers are actually very proud of their Death Star, right? And Darth Vader is not actually very fond of it. That's why, because even though they created an ultimate weapon, now they have the problem because the plans were actually stolen. Okay. So, to move further, from the leadership, from what I've learned so far, is to have an effective leadership, you need to have a vision, right? You have to have a vision. Where are you going, and why are you going there, right? And you have to focus. You need to focus on going to that vision. Then execution. How do you get there, right? And of course, there should be communication, right? You need to constantly tell your board member or your staff what actually is your vision. Why are you doing this? Why are you? What are the goals of the company? Things like that. For the dark side, the problem that I saw from that movie clip is that they have their problem because even though they have their focus, what is their focus? Their focus is to actually conquer the whole universe. That's their main focus. Execution, yeah, they also have their execution. They want to strike the Rebel Alliance in one swift stroke, right? That's their execution. And other plans and things like that. But they lack vision. Why do I say that? Why do they lack vision? Do you know why the dark side is there? Why are they conquering the universe? Why? There's no reason, right? They just want to conquer the universe. And there's also a problem in communication. As you can see, their very leader, which is the Dark Sith, the Sith Lord, or I don't know what his name is, yes, is actually not present in that meeting, right? They have a problem, and their very main topic is not present. And also, there was this officer who was talking about, was actually arguing, but then Darth Vader actually stopped him from arguing by doing the strangling thing, right? I just hope that in your companies and your board meetings that your leaders don't actually do that to stop you from talking, okay? Because in very effective leadership, you need to listen to everyone, okay? Listen lang, hindi naman necessarily maniniwala kasi sinabi nila. But basically, that's the point. You can take their suggestions, and if it's a good idea, of course, why not, right? Okay. So, how security communicates. This is actually a big problem now with IT personnel and when they are actually talking to their leaders, because sometimes, more often than not, they don't understand each other. Why? Because Gartner's Top 10 Technology of 2017. As you can see, there's our top 10. And I don't know if they are written in Arabic or Chinese or whatever, or Russian, because do you understand any of that? Maybe from people from IT. But if you are a business leader or a VP of operations and you give them those, you present them those, sir, we need to do something with our IT and with our certificates because we're going to apply the endpoint detection and response on our emails now. Do you think your VP operation will be will understand what you're saying? That's why that's a big gap with this one, because the jargons for IT are actually very, what you can say, this highfalutin or things like that. And also, there are actually jargons for business leaders as well. But obviously, for business leaders, they are actually trained on how to communicate with their people. But most often than not, the IT people are not trained to communicate to their leaders, right? So there, that's our big problem now. So how to address that? We need to understand that security personnel and executive leadership should collaborate. It is very important that security personnel and executive leaders collaborate on this very important aspect, which is cybersecurity. So things to keep in mind is we need to prioritize and make things quantifiable. Because we need to understand that our business leaders, of course, they won't be bothered with small things. Nung punta ka sa leader, sir, yung padlock po dun sa IT room, sira. Kailangan ko po ng desisyon nyo kung bibili ba ako o hindi. Baka wala ka ng trabaho bukas, di ba? Of course, you don't need to bother your executive leaders with those. That's why you need to prioritize and give actually your executive leaders what are your top cyber risks that the company is actually exposed to. And you have to make things quantifiable. Because you're just saying, sir, medyo vulnerable po yung server natin dun para sa email natin. So, baka po ma-attack tayo. So, pag-i-approve na lang po itong budget para may magawang kami. Do you think na ma-approve ba yun? Of course not, because the problem is you didn't actually present it to your leader that it's something that will resonate on them, something that will actually affect them. Right? Like for example, in the second note, we need to present the likelihood and the impact of the problem. We need to say that there's a 90% chance that we will be breached. Our email servers, our database will be breached. Then, we need to present the impact in tangible and intangible losses. The tangible losses, of course, is the financial loss. Diba? Baka pag nakuhuli yung database server natin, if we are an e-commerce company, like for example, we are, what's an e-commerce company na bago? Lazada. Okay. If we are Lazada, and we are down for about 10 days, do you think that is good for Lazada? No, because every day they need revenue, right? So there's a financial revenue on that part. So if you're going to present that, actually, sir, we're currently earning about 3 billion pesos per day in revenues. And if we're going to be down for 1 week, we're actually going to be 21 billion in losses, incurring 21 billion losses. So that's our tangible losses that we can actually present to our leaders. The intangible part is actually those things that actually, sir, if we're breached, there are potential litigations because we actually did not take care of our customers' information like their credit cards. Diba? Pwede nila tayong i-demanda. And also, you can say them, sir, medyo mapapahiya po kayo kapag na-breach tayo. The reputation of the board is very important for these leaders. And if we have the data breach, and imagine if you are actually a leader for that company and you have a data breach, of course you will be then your reputation will take a hit, right? And lastly, you should never ever present a problem without an accompanying solution. Why? Because if you're just presenting a problem, you're just complaining. You need to present a problem with an accompanying solution. Hindi yung katulad lang ng mga misis, no? Madaming problema, wala namang solusyon na binibigay. Biro lang. Okay, so there. Where's that? So remember that, you need to present a problem with accompanying solution. And if you're not doing that, you're just complaining. Okay, so to talk about the core, to go to the core of my talk, which is cybersecurity leadership. Here, to start, we need to understand that the CEO of the company must make it clear that cybersecurity is not just an IT problem. Diba? Most of the time, CEOs think that, si IT na bahala dyan, wala na akong pakialam dyan, kaya na nila. That's why I hired them. Diba? So we need to understand that CEOs and the C-suite or the C-level executives should understand that cybersecurity is just an IT problem. So business and technology leaders must work together. Do you know why? As we can all know, iba yung culture and knowledge, expertise ng technology and our business leaders. The technology people actually are very much aware of what to do with if there are vulnerabilities. But they are not aware which one should come first. They don't know what are the key services that we are providing. And that ang may tutulong, yun ang may tutulong ng mga business leaders natin. They can help us identify critical services. And then, the technology then, let's say for example, we are an e-commerce company. What is our critical service? Of course, being online, right? And therefore, the technology people will then tell, if we're going, if that is a critical server, then service, then basically we need to protect this. We need to have a prevention for denial of service attacks and things like that. So therefore, you can now work together on actually protecting that. And actually, business leaders are actually the one who are investing money to those services that you will be needing. And also, you will be able to discuss risks and then find solutions. Okay, so here are the 3 leadership obligations that we have, which are people, of course. We need to ensure staff are equipped to handle personal information securely. Why? Even though you've invested with high-end technology, that you've installed the $5 billion network security, and then you have a payroll assistant who actually put his password on his monitor. Sulat niya sa sticky note, lagay niya sa monitor niya yung password niya. Do you think that's a problem? Of course. there are actually also people that they are thinking that they are smart, that they don't actually stick it on their monitor, they stick it under their keyboards. Oh, hidden na yan, di nila alam, nasa ilalim na. But actually, we're actually studying those things that it's actually a vulnerability. So you need to understand, you need to train your people how to handle information securely. And of course, you need to evaluate your processes, that the organization is actually proactive in taking care of these breaches and response appropriately. And of course, technology, we need to ensure that technology is secure and up to date. Meron pa ba tayong computers na running Windows 3.1? May mga computers pa ba tayong running Windows XP, which actually about ilang years na, 2 years na bang hindi sinusupport ng Microsoft? There are no updates already there, so maybe we need to update our systems. Okay. Okay. Most of the time, our business leaders are actually falling into this cyber trap, which is, it's all about technology. I can just buy the most high-end, the most up-to-date technology and I'll be okay. Ganyan. And also, it's about our ICT department. I can hire the best IT guy and I can just sleep well at night and just don't mind my cybersecurity. And this one, it won't ever happen to us. Those are the cyber traps. And what's the problem with this one is actually the cybersecurity threats or cyber crimes actually are growing very, very complex and sophisticated every day. That's why you cannot just install something there and just leave it there and then think you're okay. Every time there are attacks that happen. An example of this is before HTTP. Do you know a website which uses an HTTP is not secure because it's not encrypting anything. And now there's HTTPS, di ba? Encrypted na daw yung mga sinesend, yung mga password and things like that. But actually, there are actually research now that they actually can attack that now. So, di pwedeng stagnant lang tayo dyan. So, there. We don't mistake the idea that we can live with the security of our whole company to just a few people, which is our IT people. Okay, next. Here are some cybersecurity myths. Tingnan lang po ng konti. Okay, cybersecurity myths. So, the first one, we conduct penetration testing. So, yeah, the penetration testing guy, you do that, you can actually see the vulnerabilities and you present it to the board. Yes, that is well and good, diba? You're actually testing your system for vulnerabilities. The problem is if you don't act on them. So, you need to actually remediate those vulnerabilities. May kailangan ka bang i-patch or things like that. So, you need to actually act. You just don't do penetration testing all day and do nothing about it. Vulnerability and vulnerability lang ang nakikita. And as what I've said earlier, there's another myth which is we are invested in high-end security tools. Diba? Even though you have the high-end security tools, tapos nga may payroll assistant ka or marketing assistant na nag-relieve lang ng password na ganyan. Which actually. Okay. Here's another one, which is yung pinagmamalaki ng Union Bank kanina. That they are what? PCI compliant? Well, we comply with industry regulations and best practices, that's why we are secure. Okay, we need to understand that mere compliance is not actually a capability. So we need to understand if those compliance is actually fit to our company. Kasi case-to-case basis din yan. Those compliance sometimes just give the bare minimum ng kailangan ng mga for cybersecurity. Need to understand if it actually fits our company. And also, this one, cybersecurity myth, a third-party provider manages our security. So most of the time, companies actually outsource their cybersecurity needs. So para ma-transfer daw yung responsibility sa iba. So wala na silang problema. So if I transfer my cybersecurity services to another company, then eventually I'm actually transferring the responsibility, right? Yes, in a sense. But you have to remember that you're still on the firing line of the customers, which, for example, you're holding their information. Sa inyo pa rin naman, yung customer sa inyo pa rin naman eh. Kapag may data breach, they will not actually go to the third vendor and sue that third vendor, right? A third-party vendor, right? They will actually sue you. So you have to remember that your third-party provider should also fit what you need. Okay. Here is another example of cybersecurity myth. We only need to protect our internet-facing applications. So it's saying that yung mga may internet lang, yun lang ang kailangan nating protektahan. Of course, this is not true. Well, we also have online accounts that we need to protect. Like for example, if you know Edward Snowden. You know Edward Snowden? Yung NSA agent that actually stole data from the NSA and actually leaked them. Paano niya na-leak yun? Is it through internet? It's actually through the use of a memory card. So basically, ninakaw niya yung mga important files or confidential, top secret files ng NSA and then micro SD card. Then, yeah. So you need to protect those as well. And here, we have never been attacked before, so we are all good. Ibig sabihin, matibay yung security natin, di ba? Kasi hindi pa tayo na-attack eh. Eh, malay mo, the malware is already in your system being dormant. Like for Stuxnet, for the Iran, the malware is actually there for about 3 years, 4 years before the attack. And then the attack came. Hindi nila alam na nandun na pala sila. They are being attacked already. So you need to be careful with that. Then, another cybersecurity myth, it's well managed by IT department. Again, as I've said, cybersecurity should be both the business and the IT technology people. Wag lang ibigay sa IT ang cybersecurity. Okay, so here are the 4 steps to cybersecurity as provided by Deloitte. So as you can see, the very foundation of this pyramid is personal protection. Diba? We need to have a culture of security awareness. Buti na lang nandyan si Fjords kanina, di ba? So nagkakaroon na tayo ng culture ng security awareness amongst ourselves. And also, it should lead from the top. Diba? Your executive leaders should actually follow this culture of security. Because most often than not, the executive leaders, sila pa yung mismong medyo sumusumay sa mga security policies natin. Like for example, complex passwords. Diba? Yung mga top level natin, ayaw nila ng mga complex passwords. Ayaw nila yung mga nag-expire palagi. So, pinapabypass sila ng things like that. So, it should lead from the top. Then, on top of that is to get the basics right, like penetration testing, which are very basic na in our sets. Penetration testing, regular patching, updating our system, technology, things like that. Then you need to set the bar that there should be a risk and business-aligned strategies. And then be prepared that one day can actually be attacked. So you need to monitor, plan and test, respond, and first. Okay, so I'm actually going to my last part of my presentation, which is the 11 key cybersecurity questions that we should ask our leaders. The first one is, do we treat cybersecurity as business or IT responsibility? As we've discussed earlier, it should be both the business and IT's responsibility. Di lang IT lang yan. Our business leaders should also be in there with us when we're talking about cybersecurity. Number 2, do our security goals align with business priorities? Diba? So we need to understand that yung mga security goals natin dapat parallel naman sa anong ginagawa natin. Like for example, sabi ng IT, we want the protection for our credit card information for our customers so that we need to block them and endpoint detection. We need to put honeypots for detection of malware, so things like that. But then, you don't actually do e-commerce. Hindi ka man nagbebenta online, why would you need that, right? So gusto lang siguro gumastos ni IT at magpaganda ng mga presentation niya. So you need to align what are the critical services that we need to protect. And third, we identified and protected our most valuable processes and information. Diba? As presented earlier, yung mga intellectual property. Let's say for example, Coke. Sabi niya, may secret recipe daw siya. What if nanakaw yun, di ba? Marami ng mga competitors dyan. So we need to actually identify those and protect them. Okay, fourth one, does our business culture support a secure cyber environment? So actually this is the very foundation by personal awareness from all of us that dapat it all starts with us. We have a culture of security. Like tailgating. Sino ba natatrabaho dito sa mga organizations na mayroong yung biometrics bago ka makapasok? Kapag may kasama kayo, most of the time, pag dalawa kayo, isa lang yung mag-i-in, di ba? Tapos sabay-sabay na kayong ganyan. Tailgating. Actually, a good security should kayo lahat mag-i-in kasi para malaman nyo kung sino yung mga pumapasok. Pero dahil Pilipino tayo, sige, pagbubukas na kita ng pinto, wag mo lang magsasara. So we need to have a culture of security. And number 5, do you have the basics right? Like access rights, least privilege, huwag mong bibigyan ng access sa payroll or credit card or bank account information yung driver, tama ni driver, syempre. Diba? Basically, you just need to give access to those who needs them, who actually is critical for their work. And software patching, vulnerability management, and data leakage. Number 6, do we focus on security compliance or security capability? Most of the time, companies are actually just focusing on the compliance and just meet the bare minimum of the requirement and feel that they're okay. So we need to understand if it actually fit our business, and that's why we need to constantly check our capabilities. And 7, are we certain our third-party partners are securing our most valuable information? As talked a while ago, we need to understand that even though our third party is actually the one taking care of our information or cybersecurity now, we need to understand that the customers are still in direct line with us. Okay. And 8, do we regularly evaluate the effectiveness of our security? So the main word here is regularly. That's why we need to always evaluate our systems because, as I said earlier, day by day, cyber crimes are getting more sophisticated and complex, and they are getting updated every time. So that's why cybersecurity is a constant learning. And 9, are we vigilant? Do we monitor our systems and can we prevent breach? And by being vigilant, you need to understand what are the current threats now. So, yun, huwag kang magpapauli kasi kapag ikaw inauli, usually ikaw yung ma-attack. Diba? They're actually presenting those things na, oh, there's a vulnerability here. Eh, hindi mo alam yun. Lipas na ng tatlong linggo, hindi mo pa rin alam. Basically, they are very vulnerable for that point. Maybe na-attack ka na, and they're actually waiting for the trigger. And 10, do we have an organized plan for responding to a security breach? And for worse comes to worse, when there's a security breach, what do we do? May plano na ba tayo dyan? Sinong kukontakin natin? Anong gagawin natin? Anong services ang kailangan natin online as much as possible? Which are services that we can actually delay? At mag-focus muna tayo sa mga most critical. So we need to understand it. And 11, and the worst, and actually it's actually a booming business right now actually, is are we adequately resourced and insured? Actually, organizations now are actually getting cybersecurity insurance. Diba? So para kapag may breach, at least makaka-reduce sila ng mga financial losses. So 11 na yan, so mga 99 to eh, so 88 na lang na questions. Just okay. So actually, lastly, we need to remember that it is the leader who is actually ultimately responsible for managing cybersecurity risk. Why? Because cybersecurity risk actually affects your business. It's actually the biggest threat. Kaya hindi pwede yung mga business leader is ignore na lang nila yung cybersecurity risk. Okay? And as there are questions about cybersecurity, are sufficiently informed and assess those risks and potential impact to the business. And with that, dahil naubos na yung laway sa dila ko, medyo dry na yun. And with that, I'm just closing this one. And thank you very much for actually attending this. And we still have one talk to go, so thank you so much.
So thank you, Mr. Paul Mendoza, for that talk. It is actually an important note for us, the 11 steps that we should understand. And hopefully, when you go back to your distinct organizations where you are linked in, hopefully you would use those 11 steps.